and do my part, you know. Thursday we boxed. I'd say, you know what? He probably got the better of it a little bit because mainly on conditioning. It wasn't anything tactical really that he was better than me at, but conditioning-wise, he could push the issue a little bit more than I could. And he went 8 rounds, and you know, he was able to work a little harder than me, you know. But I saw during the sparring, I was able to do certain things as far as give him a lot of illusions, make him feel like he has to work in certain moments when he doesn't really have to work. But if I give you that illusion a lot of times, put you in certain positions, how you react to it, making you throw punches when you really don't have to, making you work when you really don't have to. I generated a lot of work out of him, which does 2 things. For me, it shows me that he needs to sharpen up his intelligence a little bit, his instincts in the ring, his experience. But also, even if he threw those punches in those spots, I said, hey, you know what? I'm getting him to work harder. You know, I'm getting him to work hard. Even if I'm not working as hard, I'm not able to punch in those spots because I'm trying to condition. My body's conditioned only to throw so many punches around at this point. I was like, you know, I gave him the work he needed, you know, and that was it. You know, the next day he had the picture where he put his hands behind his back. I had done that to him too. So I was a little ticked off, but I wasn't like, all right, this is like offensive, you know? But I had done that stuff to him too. And I already knew that he had his own sparring partners, his own photographers there, you know? So I already knew that the only people allowed to take pictures were his photographers, the UFC photographers on behalf of him. I didn't think he would, again, as I said at the beginning of this conversation, I didn't think he would use me to try to get me try to have the success at my expense. I thought he would try to get the success by using me to his advantages, but not at my expense and not try to ruin my image. So I wasn't like too unhappy. I wasn't happy, but I wasn't too unhappy about that first sparring picture. Mm-hmm. So these are things that I think are important, you know? And so him not having sparred the second day stuck out to me. And also when I got back here, now expecting me to go all 12, stuck out to me, except for the one thing. In my mind, I was smiling because I said this time I came ready. This time I made sure during my week off, I kept ready and I kept working my conditioning and my sharpness. In his mind, looking back, he probably thought Paulie had a tough time getting through the 8. I'm gonna set him up for 12. And he's gonna have an even harder time doing 12 because last week he wasn't here. He was working. So he's probably not in the best of shape still. And last week, he wasn't here with me. I was working out all week. That's probably what he's thinking. I mean, it's what I'm assuming he's thinking based on the way he acted. They put me in for 12. I get to the gym the next day. He's got all kinds of dignitaries there. He's got Lorenzo Fertitta there. He's got Dana White there. He's got his agent there, Adi. His name is Adi. He's got a couple other people I don't know there, you know? Another thing that checked off in my mind, because usually sparring was so private that I couldn't even bring in a trainer for my corner. You know what I'm saying? I had to just have the sparring partners work my corner, you know? So I couldn't have any of my trainers in camp. It was so private, nobody was allowed in. It was so private that when you walk into the gym, you have to leave your phones in a box so that nobody can take sneak pictures or record. It was this private. Yet he was having some dignitaries come in on this particular evening. Again, I thought to myself, this guy thinks he's going to stop me tonight. He's banking on catching the guy who could barely go 8 and had a tough time doing the 8 the first time. And now he brought in all these dignitaries so they can speak about how great he looks. And at my expense, once again, I can't say the key phrase, at my expense. It's always at my expense. I was angry, but I knew I came ready this time. And the sparring starts. Another thing he has about every single sparring, he wants Joe Cortez, the referee, he wants him to referee like it's a fight, which is fine. I understand you don't box. But he also wants stare downs every time because you got to get used to boxing. Buddy, you come to the center ring and get instructions to stare down. That happens in mixed martial arts too. There's no difference there with boxing and mixed martial arts. So when it comes to these stare downs, I was like, it's all about his ego. This guy is all about his ego. He's actually not trying to get better. He's got a bunch of yes men in his corner who tell him he's doing good even if he's doing bad. It's all about that. He always thinks he's doing good even if he's not. It's just about him and cheerleading. Just bring your pom-poms in, you know, because there's no reason for anybody to actually be there. You know what I'm saying? Aside for having a cheering section, you know? So whatever, sparring starts, we go through instructions, stare down, whatever, and the sparring starts. And I'd say, you know what, he hung tough the first 5 rounds. I came out sharper, I came out with more of a purpose, but he hung tough the first 5 rounds. He even landed a couple of big shots. But I was starting to, take over. You know, my work was more consistent. My style was more consistent. My counter punching was sharper. My jab was sharper. It was just more consistency on my part. Because here's the thing. People ask me, did he get better from the first to the second time? He did. Honestly, Ariel, he got better from the first time to the second time. The thing is, it's just still something new to him. So he's growing. The increments at which he's growing at are still smaller. I've done this for 20 years of my life. So from one sparring to another, the rate at which I progress is a lot faster because the muscle memory comes back. The reactions and timing start to come back at a faster and faster rate. So even if he got better from the first sparring, I got way better from the first sparring. And the third and fourth one would have got better and better and better. Because the way sparring went on Tuesday was this. He hung tough for 5 rounds, but he had to work more than he wanted to. But he hung tough for 5 rounds. I had more purpose, I was sharper, I was hitting the body. He was landing some good shots too, especially in those early rounds. He was hanging tough. From about 6 on, he started becoming very hittable. Started becoming so hittable that I was putting more weight on my shots, sitting down more on my shots, and of course the body shots started affecting more and more and more. Of course, I'm talking the whole time, because the first time he made sure to talk the whole time. Now I'm talking more and more, and I'm letting him know he can't hang. These body shots feel good, right? You know, I used to use taking these body shots in MMA because in MMA, the body shots aren't the same as in boxing in that there's a consistency to the body shots in boxing. It's a debilitating breakdown to the body shots in boxing. Little by little, you feel the air coming out of you. The fatigue increases. You can't throw as hard. You can't have enough snap on you don't have enough snap on your shots anymore. You can't throw as often as you want to. The body shots in boxing do this to you little by little. They increase the rate at which you fatigue. And I started understanding this, and I started seeing it in his face. And what did I say about character? What did I say about a fighter who really shows that he's a fighter during what moments? During these moments. Conor got to this moment now. He stopped talking. He wanted to save as much energy as he could. He stopped throwing as many punches. He caught a nice one for about 5 rounds. The nice one he caught the whole time while I was talking. As a matter of fact, and this is where you know he's a yes man. After 7, which is one of the worst rounds, he sits there and he tells me, 7-0 me. And I remember walking back to my corner, yelling back at him. I said, whatever school you went to, they didn't teach you how to count, huh? I went back to my corner. I was feeling so good, I started yelling at Dana White ringside. I started yelling at him, and I started saying, this is the bitch you brought me here? I said 24 hours ago, I was on a flight. Then I lied a little bit. I said, last week I didn't do anything. I was just working. I did work out last week, but of course I wanted to pump myself up. The last week I didn't do anything. I was just working. I was just talking. I was just trashing at Dana. And I wasn't talking trash about Dana. I was talking to his face, but I was yelling, making a point, and I knew the yelling that kind of heard me across the ring. And Dana didn't acknowledge it in any kind of emotion. He didn't say anything, but he was looking right at me as I was saying it. You know, so he basically let me know I'm listening to you, but I'm going to react to it and I'm not going to say anything. But he heard exactly what I was saying. I was looking right at him. And then we went back out for 8, 9, and 10. One of those rounds was the push-down round. Now, the funny thing about the push-down round was this, that he tried to play like it was a knockdown. It was during one of his worst moments. He pushed me down on the floor to try to catch a break. The instant I went down, I got up. And I remember, as I continued to trash talk, I said, so, buddy, you need a break? I said, you needed that break? Because, you know, Cortez has to step in, he has to wipe off my gloves. And I started taking it right to him right after that. I said, there's no breaks here. So you don't get no breaks. And I said, there's more body shots. I said, take those. I said, they don't feel good. I started hearing him whimper with the body shots, too. I said, take those. Eat some of those. Get used to those. You know, because now the work is more consistent on my part. I got to say, there's question marks here from me because at about 10, the fatigue started coming from me. So after about 10, I was spent. And I said, no, I got to do 12. They told me I got to do 12. I'm going to hang in there for 11 and 12. I flew cross country the day before. You know, I'm still not in the best condition, but I'm in better condition than the first time. Conor impressed me in that 11 and 12. He came on strong. He came on strong, and he landed some really good shots in 11 and 12. I was starting to fade out in 11 and 12. I remember thinking it's probably the last time I'm going to fade out. So these are his last 2 free rounds he's ever going to have against me. But I remember thinking he did show character. I remember saying, you know, he caught a mean one from me for about 5 rounds in a row. And then, you know, he showed some character and coming back the way he did in the last 2. My thing is this. One of my things is this. Don't you want your sparring partners to be at the best they can be? Don't you want your sparring partners to be at their sharpest so they give you the best work? I mean, Floyd is going to be at his best. Well, why would you want that false sense of security? You're trying to put your sparring partners in a tough situation. You know, sparring is always at 9 p.m. every sparring day, but they tell you, like, randomly he'll change it to 3 p.m. He'll change it to 12 p.m. They'll change it to 5 p.m. So you always got to be, like, on edge. You can't even go to the mall and buy a pair of sneakers on sparring day because you want to have the ego to tell you to show up at any time, you know? So, like, wouldn't you want to give your sparring partners the opportunity to be, in turn, they can bring out the best in you? Why, Ariel? Because he's a bitch. He doesn't like that. He doesn't want to be put in those positions. He wants to be a front runner. He wants to be the guy who always has the advantage because when he has the advantage, he's a big man. When he gets tired, he wants out of the fight. You know? So after the sparring, we took a picture together inside the ring. Everybody gives the hands. You know, we go change, and we go to the dressing room. In the dressing room, I passed by Conor, and he says, "Hey, man, you know, good work." And I said, "Yeah, good work, Conor." You know, I thought, again, seems like maybe we buried this hatchet. Maybe I don't have to be as guarded anymore. Maybe I don't have to feel this on edge in this guy's camp anymore. You know, I was hoping that, again, because I came with those intentions. And I still didn't get that comfortable feeling yet. But maybe after these 12 rounds, I thought maybe I'm going to be more comfortable, you know? And he says, "Good work." I say good work back to him. And then I said, "But Conor, just do me a favor, bro. No more of these crazy pictures." So I had this conversation with Conor after the second sparring in the dressing room. And this is probably where I realized what a dickhead this guy is. Because at that moment, you did the 12 hard rounds. And you just, you know, there's that respect I'm feeling, at least, you know? And he looks at me, and I expected like "All right, Paulie, you got it. You know, you're right, man. Let's just keep this good work going, you know?" Instead, he looks at me, and he gives me like this smirk smile, laughs at me, and he starts walking away from me, and he puts his hands up in the air, and he gives me his back, like he's walking away towards the showers, and he's like, I don't know, Paulie. We got some good ones those last 2 rounds. I don't know about that. And like, at this point, Ariel, I'm waiting for Ashton Kutcher to walk in the dressing room and say I got punked. So I thought it was like a joke. Like, there's no way this guy's as much of an asshole. Or I expect Conor to turn around and be like, "I'm just kidding, man. You got it. Let's get this hard work and let's finish this game strong." I'm expecting one of those things. The last thing I'm expecting is this guy to just keep going off into the sunset, over to the showers, and just not say anything. And that's what he did. That's what he did. So I was just like, wow, what a jerk off. Like, what a jerk off. So I go up to my bag and I start taking out my bag because I got to get ready to shower too. And I yell back towards the showers. I said, "All right, bro." I said, "I didn't answer anything on social media last time with that picture, but I said, you put up something again, I'm going to put your post against you, bro. I'm going to post some stuff after you." And he didn't answer me. Whatever, that's it. The night ended, get ready, and we left, you know. The next day, I wake up at a DM on my Twitter. And it's not him writing anything. It's from Conor McGregor, but it's not anything writing. It's just 2 pictures. It's just 2 pictures, and he didn't write anything. He didn't caption them. And it's 2 pictures of me on the canvas. So that was it, you know. And I thought, like, okay, it's cool. That day I didn't see him because it wasn't a sparring day, and I didn't train at the time he did. And that was it. I'm thinking, like, okay, because he didn't answer me though. I still was like a little bit on edge because like, how do I react to this guy? You know what I'm saying? Like I still was like contradicted on how do I take this guy, because he didn't write me back on a DM. He just sent me that picture, and that's it. And I was it. You know, like, that was it for that day. You know, I still had this like surprise element inside of me, like feeling a little bit guarded, but whatever. The next day was a sparring day, and we'll see. You know, I'll see him the next day. The stories I'm giving now are basically just my experience. You know, it was my experience in camp and why I left and what I went through and how I was treated. And these are not good people. They're just not good people. I've met a lot of people in my life. I've met a lot of good people in my life. I've met a few scumbags in my life. You know, if you're in multi-million-dollar businesses, you're not going to meet everybody that's a great person or honest. But definitely, this guy's one of the biggest dirtbags I've ever met in my life, bar none. Bar none. I was just amazed at what a dirtbag this person is. So I don't care if we never speak again. We're not friends or whatever. It doesn't make a difference to me. My life is fine if I never see Conor McGregor or speak to him again in my life. It's totally cool. I was dumbfounded by the way things were, you know, and not just how he treated me, how he treated others. It's just about status with him. He's become all this Hollywood thing. It makes me doubt if he ever really went through a tough time in his life like they try to say he does, because somebody who went through that tough of a time in life as they say he does just a few years ago wouldn't treat people who were not as fortunate as him that bad. It just doesn't happen if you've really been through the mill as far as poverty and all this stuff. So I also think it's the stories that they tell about him are full of shit, and somebody should get to a really good investigation on those stories as well. But I think it's full of shit with those too.